Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a full review and this is by the brand Exaltatum. They're based in London and this one is a new release called by Serpentine. I was very kindly sent a 2ml sample of two of the new ones, and one of them is called by Serpentine, the other one is called River Walk. To start off, I will read the description from the paper. The fruity, aromatic, delicious, balsamic, woody fragrance with notes of bergamot, orange, pink pepper, Szechuan pepper, cherry, dried fruits, artemisia, violet leaf absolute, fir balsam, tobacco accord, cedarwood, patchouli and olibanum, and the perfume was inspired by a contemplation at the Serpentine Lake in Hyde Park, London. It reads, "Nature and people come together to celebrate the summer solstice. Light tobacco smoke rises above tall grass, drowning merry people in its sweet cloud. Ripe berries and plant seeds attract park squirrels and other animals. White royal swans are falling asleep in the pond, and a light breeze ripples the water's surface. The mystical snake, serpent, rustles on the dewy evening grass and disappears into the fern, frightening the screaming birds. Everything around is immersed in a bohemian night." And so what I get from this when I apply it, the opening is like intense. I was like, whew. The spices are definitely quite strong on my skin. I get the Szechuan pepper, the pink pepper, it's peppery, it's hot, it's spicy. There's a freshness, you get a little bit of the citrus in the top, but not overly, but just enough to give you a fresh kind of opening. But that kind of spicy opening is quite strong, intense on me, to my nose. Immediately I pick up on the Violet Absolute, and it comes across smelling ironone-like. What I would describe as an ironone. It smells irisy, essentially. You get a slight cosmetic, irisy-like note that can remind you maybe a little bit of makeup and lipstick, and going into that more kind of lipsticky territory on my skin to my nose. But there's also a slight powdery, velvety-like softness to it as well, but ironone kind of irisy-like tone coming through quite strongly with this blast of intense pepper, Szechuan pepper, pink pepper, quite, like I say, intense, peppery, strong in the opening. When this started to dry down on my skin, I felt like the fruits were a little bit minimal on my skin. You get nuances of fruits. You get nuances of fruitiness, but I wouldn't be able to pinpoint cherry, for example. I didn't directly perceive it, but you get something slightly sweet, slightly fruity, just on the sides, behind this violet leaf absolute note, which again is kind of coming across a little bit lipsticky, a little bit irisy. On my notes, one of the things I mentioned in my notes, writing this down while wearing it, was that it had a kind of a dryness to this. I felt something of a drying quality to it, and you could pick out the tobacco accord coming through. It kind of gives you that slightly brown, slightly sweetened, tobacco-like nuance with this. The violet leaf accord is definitely the main body to me on my wearing of it, supported, like I say, with the spices in the opening, and then this tobacco accord lingering around as well. The green elements on my skin weren't massively prominent, more kind of subtle, but you do get a hint of a greenness. There is things like fir in here, but it's not like in your face walking through a forest. It's not massively green. It's more kind of nuanced for me. As this dries down, a little bit more of that kind of cedar patchouli thing coming along, a little bit earthy, a little bit woody, but still the violet notes, the violet leaf accord, this iris-like material is, from the beginning to the very end, is the main body of what I'm smelling, supported by these other notes. Something that I picked out from this that's not listed on the notes, but I got something along the lines of like an ambrette kind of note, or an ambrettelide, or something musky, soft, skin-like. When the perfume kind of smells like warm skin, I think of kind of ambrette kind of notes, and I get that from this. It might not be in there, but I get that kind of vibe as it dries down. A kind of a soft ambrette, kind of musky kind of skin quality in the dry down. It's not a sweet perfume. There's no, although there's fruits listed, it's not massively fruity. Like I say, that's more slightly nuanced, and so it doesn't have much relief in terms of sweetness. On my skin, a little bit dry, and definitely more focused on the violet leaf. So I would say this treads a line along the unisex kind of road, I would say. The opening, with it being quite intense, strong, spicy, could be thought of maybe a little bit more masculine. As it dries down, using this kind of violet leaf, irisy, powdery, lipsticky kind of notes, it might go a little bit feminine to some. But in general, when you combine those two together, I think it's fairly unisex. In terms of season of when to wear it, my brain goes to spring, autumn, I would say. Slightly cooler weather. I think in the summer this might be too intense. The opening is pretty like in your face, kind of intense. On me it was anyway. And so it's not something that I would wear in the summer, but I think for the spring and the autumn would work quite nicely for this. As it settles down, as it's drying down after it's been on the skin a while, it does have kind of quite a cozy kind of quality to it that feels, like I say, it has this kind of slight natural skin smell, this kind of skin accord almost, like warm, cozy skin, with this kind of like irisy, violety, kind of powdery, lipsticky kind of thing, with the woods coming through and the patchouli and more the earthy notes as it dries down. When you get wafts of it, it's kind of intriguing. You kind of want to lean in and smell it a little bit more. And I think it could be quite a soothing, kind of comforting, warming fragrance in an evening, in a colder weather. I'm thinking more, going into autumn and winter, in a night time, like if you were walking, like it's inspired by a walk along Hyde Park. If you were walking along in the evening and it's maybe cold and there's a little bit of snow on the ground and you've got a scarf on, and maybe you sprayed the perfume on the scarf, and it's that kind of vibe that I'm kind of imagining with this. In terms of performance for this, the longevity was several hours, and the projection sillage was quite good in the first 3 hours before sitting closer to the skin. Altogether, I think if you're a fan of violet / iris / orris kind of notes that are a little bit more cosmetic, lipsticky, powdery, that kind of tone, then this might be one you're interested in. It's quite intense in the opening with those spices, and quite soothing and warming and comforting in the dry down, with that kind of musky skin kind of thing going on. With the woods and the earthiness. And that's it. That's my take on By Serpentine. If you've tried it, let me know your thoughts. And I will see you soon with some more fragrance videos. Take care, everyone. Good night.